I inherited $150,000 from my grandmother 2 months ago. She left it all to me because I spent the last 3 years of her life caring for her while the rest of my family stayed busy with their own lives. This money was supposed to be my fresh start, my chance to pay off student loans and finally buy a small house of my own. But then my older brother Garrett called with a request that would change everything between us. I never thought family could feel like strangers until that phone call came through. Before I tell you how my own brother tried to steal what was rightfully mine, let me know where you are watching from in the comments below. Hit that like button and subscribe because this story about family betrayal and the revenge that followed will show you why sometimes blood is not thicker than greed. Now let me take you back to the day everything changed. My grandmother passed away 2 months before all this started. She was 82 years old and had been fighting heart disease for years. I moved closer to her when I was 22, right after my parents got divorced. My mom left the state and barely kept in touch. My dad remarried quickly to a woman named Linda. My older brother Garrett, who is 3 years older than me, was too busy building his real estate career in the city to spend much time with family. I worked as a freelance graphic designer, which gave me the flexibility to be there for Grandma. I cooked meals with her, listened to her stories about the old days, and drove her to all her doctor appointments. Those 3 years were precious. Meanwhile, Garrett only showed up during holidays, and even then, he spent most of his time on his phone, checking emails and taking business calls. The morning Grandma died, I was holding her hand. She looked at me with those tired blue eyes and squeezed my fingers one last time. The pain of losing her cut deep, but I felt grateful that I got to be there in her final moments. At the funeral, the whole family gathered. Garrett showed up in an expensive suit with his girlfriend, Brianna, by his side. She was tall, with long brown hair and a perfect smile, but something about her eyes felt cold. They both acted sad, but it felt rehearsed to me. A week after the funeral, we met with Grandma's lawyer to read the will. My dad and Linda were there along with Garrett and me. The lawyer cleared his throat and began reading. Grandma had sold her small house a year before she died and combined that money with her life savings. The total came to $150,000, and she left all of it to me. Garrett received Grandpa's gold watch and $5,000. Dad got some family photos and keepsakes. Garrett jerked forward in his seat, his face turning red. "What? That's it. $5,000, he said, his voice sharp with disbelief. Dad tried to calm him down while Linda muttered something under her breath. I sat there in shock, never expecting Grandma to leave me so much. The lawyer then read a personal letter from her that made tears roll down my face. To my dear Baker, who gave up so much to be with me in my final years. This is my way of ensuring you have a foundation to build your future. Use it wisely, my sweet boy." I pressed my palm to my chest, feeling the weight of her love and generosity. Garrett stared at me with an expression I could not quite read. After the meeting ended, everyone left quietly. I spent the next 2 weeks thinking carefully about how to use the money. I made a plan. $50,000 would go toward paying off my student loans, $80,000 for a down payment on a small house, and $20,000 for emergencies and upgrading my work equipment. For the first time in years, I felt hopeful about my future. Then Garrett called one evening. His voice sounded cheerful and casual. "Hey Baker, how you holding up? I know Grandma's passing hit you hard," he said. We talked about work and life for a few minutes before he dropped some news. "Brianna and I got engaged," he announced. I congratulated him sincerely, genuinely happy that he found someone. "We are planning the wedding for next spring. 6 months from now," he added. Then his tone shifted. "So about Grandma's inheritance," he began. My stomach tightened. "I am really happy for you, man. That is a lot of money." He paused before continuing. "Brianna and I were talking, and weddings are expensive, you know. We are looking at venues, and the one she loves costs $75,000, just for the venue and catering alone." I felt my jaw clench as I realized where this conversation was heading. "I was thinking," Garrett went on, "since you got all that money from Grandma, maybe you could help us out. Like lend us $75,000. We will pay you back, of course, over time." Silence hung between us. I could not believe what I was hearing. "Garrett, I already have plans for that money. I need to pay off my loans and buy a place," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. He sighed heavily. "Come on, Baker. We are family. Grandma would want us to help each other." His voice took on a disappointed edge. "It is just a loan. You will get it back." I refused gently, but firmly explaining that I could not give away half of my inheritance. All right, I understand, Garrett finally said, though his tone suggested otherwise. Just think about it, okay? When the call ended, I sat there feeling confused and uncomfortable. A small part of me wondered if I was being selfish, but my rational mind knew this was my money and I had clear plans for it. The following week, Garrett did not give up. He sent me text messages every single day asking if I was still thinking about what he said. He would send links to fancy wedding venues with captions like, "This is the dream, bro?" I tried to avoid the conversation, replying with short, non-committal responses. Then Brianna started calling me directly. Her voice was sweet and friendly when she introduced herself. "Hi, Baker, Garrett told me so much about you." "I feel like we are already family," she said brightly. She spent several minutes talking about wedding plans and how she had dreamed about this day since childhood. "You know I want everything to be perfect," she explained. Then she steered the conversation toward money. "Garrett mentioned you might be able to help us with the venue. That would mean the world to us." I tried to politely decline again, but she cut me off. "I understand you have your own plans, but this is a once-in-a-lifetime event. Your brother's wedding. Do not you want him to be happy?" Her voice carried a hint of accusation. I ended the call feeling manipulated and frustrated. Things got worse when Garrett convinced my dad and Linda to pressure me. Dad called a few days later. "Son, Garrett told me about the situation," he began. "I know that money is yours, but he is your brother. Family helps family." I tried to explain my position, but Dad interrupted. "Your grandmother would want you two to support each other." I felt my chest tighten. "Dad, I need this money. I have debts and I want to buy a house," I said. "You are young," he replied. "You will have time to make more money. But Garrett's wedding is now. He needs you." Linda called me separately the next day. "Baker, I'm going to be honest with you. Garrett is under a lot of stress," she said in a confidential tone. "Brianna comes from a well-off family. They are expecting a certain level of wedding. If he cannot deliver, it might affect their relationship." She paused for effect. "Do you really want to be the reason your brother's marriage starts on the wrong foot?" The guilt she tried to plant in me only made me angry. Then Garrett created a family group chat and posted pictures of the wedding venue. "Our dream venue. Just need to make it happen," he wrote. Aunts and uncles commented with congratulations and excitement. Someone asked what kind of support he needed. Garrett replied, being deliberately vague, "Financial. But I am sure we will figure it out." Family always comes through. I felt trapped knowing everyone in the family was now watching to see what I would do. Finally, I agreed to meet Garrett in person at a coffee shop, hoping to settle this once and for all. When I arrived, I was surprised to see Brianna with him. They sat across from me and the air felt heavy with tension. "Thanks for meeting us, Baker." "I know this has been awkward," Garrett started. Brianna held his hand and looked at me with pleading eyes. "Look, I will be straight," Garrett said, leaning forward. "We need $75,000 for this wedding. Brianna's parents are paying for half, but we need to match their contribution." He gestured toward me. "You have $150,000 sitting in the bank. You can spare half." I shook my head. "It is not about sparing it, Garrett. That money is for my future." Brianna's voice trembled as she spoke. "But what about our future? Our wedding is the start of our life together." Garrett's expression hardened. "You know what, Baker? I have been thinking. Maybe Grandma made a mistake." I stared at him. "What?" I asked, barely able to process what he just said. I mean, I was her grandson too. I visited her. I called her on holidays. Just because you lived nearby does not mean you loved her more. My hands curled into fists under the table. "That money should have been split between us," Garrett continued. I felt my face flush with anger. "Grandma made her choice, Garrett. She wrote her will with a clear mind." He laughed bitterly. "A clear mind? She was 82 and sick. Maybe you influenced her." I stood up so fast my chair scraped loudly against the floor. "I cannot believe you just said that," I said, my voice shaking. Brianna reached out toward me. "Garrett is just upset. We all are. This is supposed to be a happy time." Garrett stood too, his face red. "If you do not help us, Baker, do not bother coming to the wedding. In fact, maybe we need some distance. Family is supposed to support each other, and clearly, you do not understand that." I walked out of that coffee shop feeling like I had been punched in the stomach. Over the next few days, I felt increasingly isolated from my family. Dad seemed disappointed in me. The group chat went quiet whenever I posted anything. I felt alone and started questioning whether I was in the wrong. But deep down, I knew I had to stand my ground. This was my inheritance, given to me for a reason. 2 weeks after that terrible meeting, I received a phone call from my bank that changed everything. "Mr. Baker, we received a wire transfer request for $75,000 from your savings account," the representative said. My blood went cold. "We are calling to confirm this was authorized by you." I gripped my phone tighter. "What? No, I did not authorize anything." The representative explained that they had paperwork with my signature requesting the transfer to an account under Garrett's and Brianna's names. "That is not my signature," I said firmly. "Someone forged it." I rushed to the bank immediately. When I examined the documents, I saw that the signature looked similar to mine but was definitely not written by my hand. The bank employee explained they received the form via email, along with a scanned copy of my identification. "This is fraud," I told them. "I need to file a report." The bank froze the transaction right away, and I contacted the police to file a formal complaint. My hands shook as I dialed Garrett's number. When he answered, I could barely control my rage. "What the hell did you do?" I demanded. "What are you talking about?" he replied, trying to sound confused. "Do not play dumb. You tried to forge my signature to steal $75,000. The line went silent for several seconds. "Steal is a strong word," Baker Garrett finally said. "I was just trying to access what should have been partly mine anyway." I could not believe what I was hearing. "You committed fraud! That is illegal!" I shouted. Garrett's voice turned defensive. "You forced me to do this. You left me no choice." I laughed without humor. "There is always a choice, Garrett. And you chose to become a criminal." I heard Brianna's voice in the background saying, "Let me talk to him." Brianna grabbed the phone. "Baker, you are overreacting." "We were going to tell you," she said quickly. "We just needed to secure the venue before someone else took it. You would have gotten your money back eventually." I felt disgusted. "This is insane. I am pressing charges," I said. Her tone changed completely, becoming cold and threatening. "You do that, and you will tear this family apart. Is that what you want?" I hung up and immediately contacted a lawyer. His name was Patrick Hayes, a man in his mid-40s who specialized in family fraud cases. "You have a strong case," Patrick told me after reviewing the evidence. "Forgery and attempted wire fraud are serious crimes. They could face significant charges." I nodded. "I want to make sure they cannot hurt me or anyone else again." Patrick leaned back in his chair. "Let me do some digging. Sometimes people who do this once have done it before." Patrick recommended a private investigator named Monica Reeves. She was thorough and professional, and within a week she uncovered information that made everything click into place. Monica discovered that Brianna had a history of massive debt. She had 7 maxed-out credit cards, totaling over $120,000. She had also been sued by a former boyfriend for borrowing money and never paying it back. Most shocking of all, she had been engaged 2 times before Garrett, and in both cases, she had demanded financial support from her fiancés before breaking off the engagements. Monica sat across from me in her office and laid out the evidence. "Baker, this woman is a professional," she said bluntly. "She targets men with financial potential or family money. Garrett is not the first, and he would not have been the last. She is looking for someone to clear her debts and fund her lifestyle. This wedding is not about love, it is about money." Everything suddenly made sense. The pressure, the manipulation, the rushed timeline. Patrick and I developed a plan. We were not just going to stop the fraud, we were going to expose the truth to my entire family. "We need to do this carefully," Patrick advised. "You want your family to see the truth, not just hear it from you." I agreed. "I want them to understand what really happened and what kind of person Brianna is." 1 week before the scheduled wedding, my dad and Linda organized a family gathering at their house to finalize wedding plans. Garrett and Brianna arrived looking happy and excited. Then I walked in with Patrick. Dad looked surprised. "Baker, I did not know you were coming," he said. I took a deep breath. "I needed to be here, Dad. There is something everyone needs to know." Garrett's face paled. "What is this about?" he asked nervously. I looked around at my gathered family members. 2 weeks ago, Garrett and Brianna tried to steal $75,000 from my account. Gasps filled the room. Garrett jumped to his feet. That is not true. Patrick stepped forward calmly. I am Patrick Hayes, Mr. Baker's attorney, and yes, it is absolutely true. He laid out copies of the forged documents on the coffee table. This is a wire transfer authorization with a forged signature. The bank confirmed it came from an email traced back to Mr. Garrett's IP address. My dad stared at the papers in disbelief. Garrett tried to defend himself. Okay, fine, I did it, but only because Baker refused to help. That money should have been split. Grandma was not thinking straight when she wrote that will. Dad stood up, his face red. Garrett, what have you done? Before Garrett could answer, I continued. But there is more. Dad, everyone, you need to know who Brianna really is. Brianna's eyes went wide. Do not you dare, she hissed at me. Monica stepped forward with a folder full of documents. I took a breath and revealed everything. The credit card, debts, the previous engagements, the lawsuit from her ex-boyfriend. Brianna has over $120,000 in debt, I said clearly. She has been engaged twice before, and both times she asked for money and then disappeared after getting what she needed. This wedding is not about love. It is about finding someone to pay off her bills. The room fell completely silent. Everyone stared at Brianna in shock. Garrett turned to her slowly. Is this true? He asked, his voice breaking. Brianna's face flushed with panic. Garrett, do not listen to him. He is just trying to ruin us. Garrett's hands were shaking. Answer me, Brianna. Is it true? She stammered. I was going to tell you. I had some debts, but I love you. Garrett stepped back from her. Some debts? $120,000. Previous engagements. Brianna realized she could not salvage the situation. Her expression turned cold and angry. You know what, I do not need this, she snapped. Garrett, you promised me a dream wedding. If you cannot deliver, then what is the point? She grabbed her purse and stormed out of the house, slamming the door behind her. Garrett stood frozen, his face crumbling as reality crashed down on him. Dad and Linda rushed to his side as he started to cry. The room stayed quiet for a long moment. Then Dad turned to me with tears in his eyes. Baker, I am so sorry. I should have listened to you. Linda nodded, looking ashamed. We pushed you. We did not understand what was really happening. I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. I just wanted to protect what Grandma left me, I said quietly. And I wanted to protect Garrett too, even if he could not see it at the time. Garrett looked up at me, his face wet with tears. I am sorry, Baker. I was so stupid. I almost destroyed everything that mattered. I walked over and put my hand on his shoulder. You made a terrible mistake, but you can learn from this, I said. For the first time in weeks, I felt like maybe we could eventually fix what had been broken. The wedding was canceled. Brianna disappeared completely, and we later heard she had moved to another state. Garrett fell into a depression for several weeks, but slowly he began to recover. He started to see how lucky he was to have escaped that situation before it was too late. Over the following months, Garrett and I gradually rebuilt our relationship. He apologized formally and took full responsibility for his actions. I let greed and desperation blind me, he told me one afternoon over coffee. I almost lost my brother over money that was not even mine to begin with. I forgave him because despite everything, he was still my brother. I will always love you, I said. But there have to be boundaries. We both need to respect that. I went ahead with my original plan for the inheritance. I paid off all my student loans, which felt like removing chains I had been carrying for years. I bought a small house, nothing fancy, but it was mine. The house was cozy with 2 bedrooms, a little backyard, and enough space for a home office. I donated $10,000 to a heart disease research fund in Grandma's name. When I invited the family over for a housewarming party, Garrett showed up with a gift. A framed photo of Grandma and me from one of our cooking sessions together. Dad pulled me aside during the party. I am proud of you, son, he said. You stood your ground when everyone was against you. That takes real strength. Linda apologized again for the pressure she had put on me. Our relationship, which had always been somewhat distant, actually improved after everything came to light. Garrett spent time in therapy working through what had happened and why he had been so easily manipulated. Looking back now, I realize Grandma's gift was not just about money. It was about teaching me to stand up for myself even when it is hard. Even when the people pressuring you are the ones you love most. I learned that family should support each other, but not at the cost of destroying yourself. Real love respects boundaries. Real family does not manipulate or steal from you. Saying no does not make you selfish. It makes you honest. It means you value yourself enough to protect what is yours. My brother made terrible choices, but what separated him from Brianna was that he owned up to them. She ran away when confronted with the truth. He stayed and faced the consequences. That difference mattered. We are rebuilding our relationship slowly, and some things take time to heal. Trust has to be earned back, piece by piece. If you are facing something similar, know this: your inheritance, your money, your life, is yours to protect. Do not let anyone guilt you into giving up what is rightfully yours, no matter how much they claim it is about family or love. And sometimes the best revenge is not about hurting someone back. It is about standing firm, exposing the truth, and building the life you deserve. Grandma taught me that lesson in the most profound way. She knew exactly what she was doing when she left me that inheritance. She was not just giving me money. She was giving me a test, a chance to prove I could protect myself and make wise choices even under pressure. I will carry that lesson with me for the rest of my life. Have you ever had family members try to take advantage of you financially? How did you handle it? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because I would love to hear your stories. If this resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more real-life stories about standing up for yourself. Share this with someone who needs to hear that it is okay to set boundaries even with family. Thank you for listening to my story, and remember, protecting yourself is not selfish, it is necessary. I hope you find the strength to stand firm in whatever situation you are facing. Take care of yourself out there.